Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Global Kids Annual Benefit virtual version. My name is Evie Hanzopoulos, and I'm so happy that you could be here with us tonight. Last year at this time, we were planning our 2020 benefit, and little did we know what would happen. So tonight, we celebrate our resilience and, of course, our incredible students, our GK leaders, who, despite so many challenges, give us hope and light. So Global Kids, it's in its 32nd year, and we continue to fulfill our mission to educate, activate, and inspire youth from underserved communities in New York City and Washington, D.C. to take action on the most critical issues facing our world. So during this past year, we pivoted really quickly to virtual programming thanks to the hard work and talent of our staff. And we were able to provide seamless transition for our students who depend on our programs for their well-being, enrichment, and sense of community. Not only have we continued to offer our leadership, civic engagement, college and career, and so many other programs, we've also doubled down on providing social and emotional support to youth who are experiencing unprecedented loss of in-school time, and so many other losses as well. And we've been reaching out, making sure our students are well, and touching base with families to ensure that all of our youth are receiving the services they need and deserve. To our viewers, hello, and our donors, thank you so much for your continued generous support. It's really needed much more now than ever, and we are truly grateful. So we have a really great program up ahead. I'm going to introduce our board chair, Richard Roberts, in 1 second. But first, I want to let you know that we have a wonderful prize tonight for whoever donates the largest amount. We actually have 2 round-trip Alaska Airlines vouchers. They're worth $1,250 each. You can fly anywhere on Alaska Airlines with those vouchers. So if you donate tonight and you are the largest donor, you will win those 2 round trip tickets. So if you want to donate, you just go to donate.globalkids.org. This is a fundraiser, as you know, but there's a great incentive for you to give generously to Global Kids. So with that, I would like to hand it over to our board chair, Richard Roberts. Take it away, Richard.
Thank you, Evie. I just want to extend my thanks as well to everyone watching this, and to all those who have donated thus far for the benefit and to GK throughout the year. I don't have to tell you how important these programs are. You already know it, and we are extremely grateful. We have a great program in store for you tonight. We're going to start with a special animated video created by one of our middle school students. We do work with students as young as middle school, and it's a great video. We're going to move on to a retrospective on the very difficult year that 2020 posed. We're going to hear a message from our founder, and we're going to put a spotlight on the 10 years we have been working with youth in Washington, D.C. Later in the program, we will hear from George Stephanopoulos in conversation with some of our youth, and much, much more. So please stay tuned. Enjoy the night, and thank you again for your attention and your support of this amazing organization.
My name is Lila. This is my 2nd year at GK, and I participate in Funny Girls. My experience with GK in 2020 has been really fun, and I think it really helped me stay positive, especially when lockdown first started. I was really bored all day doing my schoolwork and stuff, and my school didn't even have live sessions then, so it felt like I never talked to anyone. But in GK, I could talk to people from my school, and we did the things we did when we were in person. It was a really good break from all the boring stuff that was the rest of my day. My favorite memory about GK is when we went to the climate march. Everyone made signs and everything over the past week. Some people made really cool signs, although I thought my sign was kind of bad, but I took it anyway because I wanted to hold a sign. We went on the subway together, and it was really fun. We heard a bunch of different climate activists speak, even Greta Thunberg. GK really helped me get through these tough times, and I'm really grateful for it.
So what do you think are the services that are affected by the census count?
A lot of the census count affects almost every area of our lives.
It is completely confidential.
Communities could use the fundings to build more parks.
So really, what are you waiting for?
Let's
get
counted.
counted.
Let's get counted.
Let's get counted.
Yeah, that's great. So what do you have to say about our video?
I think it is
critically important that you circulated it to as many of your friends and neighbors as possible.
So in other words, what's the change that you want to see? What would you like to see, the world look like as we come out of this? And what's the work that you're going to do? 30 seconds or less, because we have 1 minute. Actually, 15 seconds or less.
I want society to protect its most vulnerable. I would hope to see more social safety nets, more welfare programs come out of this, workers protection, tenant protection, and just support of those who need it most, and not just turn to a global pandemic to make us realize, oh, we need this stuff.
After this, we should protect our communities and take more actions to prevent these sort of things from happening. And by doing that, the virus or any other disease wouldn't be affecting us as much anymore.
SYP was really an opportunity for me to help give back to my parents and finally start to do something for myself and maybe move on with it. And I could use that experience to apply to more jobs and, kickstart my life. I'm not the only one who benefits from these programs. There have been there are a lot of students in New York City that need the money, that need to save up for college and help their families. So SYP is a really important facility that New York City students have, and something like this just shouldn't be taken away like that. Not especially not in a time of crisis like this.
It's very critical to talk about how my little brothers will grow up in this world with police brutality. And one critical thing I told my parents, and I told my brothers too, is when you get old enough, you need to learn your rights. You need to know what your rights are, and your human rights, and also the rights you have when you go out in the street, what police can't and can do. And that's one critical thing that I think everybody should learn, especially young Black males. You need to learn your rights.
These issues are extremely prominent in every space that I insert myself in, and a lot of the conversation ends up stemming around what we can do as young people, as people of color, as queer people in this situation. What is our role and what is our impact? It's not enough to say, oh, that really sucks and move on. It takes making an active difference, being proactive and putting in the effort, because it's the only way that change ever comes about.
The Link NYC project that really brought to the fore the work that female suffragettes have done to earn women the right to vote in this country was a great opportunity for our young professionals to showcase their incredible talent while focusing around a message of social justice. We couldn't be happier about the direction that this partnership has taken, and are looking forward to working with Global Kids in the near future to continue refining the conversation and sharing the message and skills of our school with the specific angle of making the world a better place.
And because today is about gender equity, our conference planners are also going to shine a light on something called intersectionality, and how things like race, class, gender identity, sexual orientation, immigration status, disability, and other factors impact gender equity. So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from today, is that we all need to do our best to take care of each other in this time. And that while we must strive to show love and kindness, we also have to fight for justice. Your voice is critical to making that happen, and we are seeing young people rise up to address racism and say that enough is enough.
Hello, welcome everybody to the end of summer camp showcase. Today we are going to be traveling around the globe to actually highlight some of the amazing things that we've done during our clubs in the summer camp.
We know the strength and the power that we hold. We have seen the impact that we can have. Right now, more so than ever before, the injustices that plague our world are highlighted by their symptoms.
But Global Kids allowed me to think not only locally, but globally. It made me to be globally aware of the things that happen in the world and how things that happen in the world does affect me.
Hello, I'm Carol Artigiani, founder of Global Kids. I've had the privilege of helping GK grow from a small program to what it is today, a major force in the lives of thousands of youth who have now become citizens of the world. Please give generously to Global Kids.
I am so incredibly excited to be celebrating our 10th year anniversary serving Washington, D.C. youth. GKDC started in 2010. We started with 2 schools, Columbia Heights Educational Campus and Friendship Collegiate Academy, where we served 40 students. And 10 years later, we are at 11 different schools. Global Kids DC is the only organization that is providing global education to young people and focusing on youth development, career advising, civic engagement, and youth leadership here in the district.
My first experience with Global Kids was through the Summer Youth Employment Program, and never before had I been in rooms with adults that weren't my parents that wanted to hear about what I thought about social justice and international affairs and local politics. It was just crazy to me.
It's allowed me to express myself in a way that I never could before. It's allowed me to gain confidence and realize that the voice of the youth does matter.
They have learned and engaged in issues that are critical to the global discussion. We have talked about poverty, about gender biases, about education equality, and many, many more issues that young people have now aspired to become global change makers.
It's also allowed me to learn more about global issues and become more aware of what's happening around me, and also making me feel like I can make an impact in these issues.
They would bring in other adults, people from the United Nations, people working in education, people in all kinds of different fields. They would bring them in and have them listen to us, and it was incredible. It was amazing that accomplished adults, professional adults, wanted to listen to what I had to say as a 15-year-old in DC.
The counselors and the students, just like everyone, not even students, scholars, because everyone there is so brilliant and so open-minded and so well-spoken, and I think that's one of the best parts about Global Kids. It's truly amazing.
We have also traveled internationally where young people have exchanged ideas about education, about foreign policy, about being teenagers in different parts of the world.
We have taken the students to Brazil, to Haiti, to Costa Rica,
South Africa, most recently Colombia.
To look at foreign policy issues from both the US angle, but also from other countries' perspectives.
I went to Colombia, I went to Bogota and Cartagena, and I loved the trip. It was amazing. It was such an eye-opener, and we actually got to do a direct action. We got to advocate, and we got to meet students my age who are in high school and even younger, and to learn about their problems. So it was amazing.
I've stayed in touch with a lot of the students that we worked with over the past 10 years as they've grown into full-fledged adults and launched their own careers. I've seen them go on to work on presidential campaigns, to study abroad in college, to take on other professional opportunities that really show the impact that Global Kids had on their life in terms of planting that seed to be active and engaged global citizens.
And that's why Global Kids is so important for the DC community.
You would think in a city like Washington, D.C., which is basically the most powerful city in the world in terms of determining the U.S.'s role in foreign affairs, that it would be a given that kids who grow up there are exposed to international opportunities, foreign policy issues, and global careers. But that's simply not the case for a lot of students.
No one's really going out into, these communities where people actually live year round to talk to the kids and figure out what they want to hear and what they want to say and what they feel.
The students have organized as young local leaders. They have done school walkouts in protest of education inequality. They have graduated successfully and have gone on to college. Many of them are first, second year college students now. And they have even returned as interns to Global Kids DC for our summer programming.
It really takes people or an organization to be intentional about making those links, and that's exactly what Global Kids does, ensuring that kids from all parts of DC are exposed to America's role in the world and really find a way that they can play an active part in shaping that discussion and being global citizens.
And I think it's good work that Global Kids is doing to go into these communities and show these kids that people are listening and that they care and that they can use their voices for change.
It's a good way for you to be involved in the community and learn more and be able to experience things from around the world just by being in DC.
Over the past 10 years, Global Kids has reached and served nearly 4,000 young people, families, community members, teachers, schools. We are really, really, really proud of the work that we have done. I also want to thank two really incredible sources of support for us, our Young Professionals Committee, as well as our Advisory Council, who have helped us grow tremendously, and many, many, many other funders here in Global Kids DC.
Here's to Global Kids. Cheers to its 10th year operating in DC. It's really been a phenomenal experience to be part of it.
Welcome back, everyone. That was an extremely inspiring segment. So much work that Global Kids is doing, not only in New York, but as you saw in DC. And I'm just amazed at everything that the program has been able to accomplish despite the pandemic. My favorite was the Link NYC. I just love seeing that that's actual GK student artwork that appeared in the on the poles, or the whatever you call them, that are all throughout the city, where people can stop and learn more information about the city and can plug in and recharge their phones. Particularly interesting that it's and I think appropriate that we highlighted women's suffrage, because I think we all know that March is National Women's History Month, so it's so good to see that highlighted as well. Evie, what did you think of the segment?
Well, for me, it was really, all of it. I loved seeing the art and design, the suffragette project and all that, but I actually really enjoyed seeing the retrospective on DC, because we launched that in 2010. That was my first year as executive director. It was really exciting, and I think, as we heard from the students who were talking in the video, we really brought something, I think, unique to DC, something that was greatly needed, particularly given the power that exists in DC. So really getting young people engaged in civic affairs and international affairs in Washington, DC, I think has been fantastic. And it's been a wonderful, it's been wonderful for me to see the growth that we have been able to achieve in DC. And that's really thanks to the incredible staff there, Wida and Libby and all the GK staff in DC, as well as the people who helped get it started, Elizabeth DeKergele and Kim McClure, who you heard from in the video. So I just want to thank everybody, obviously our DC advisory, everyone who supported that program, as well as Global Kids as a whole. So yeah, I just really loved it. Richard, I can't believe it's been 10 years since we were at the French ambassador's residence.
I know, time flies, and I think it was also the first year that I was board chair, so it was really excited to see what's happened there, and I'm just so pleased that they've been able to travel so much and get out and go to places all over the world. It's a really great opportunity.
So we are going to kind of move on into the next segment. I want to encourage people, if you feel so moved, to please donate and help us win those vouchers. I want to thank Lisa Chernick, who's just donated. There's a bunch of other people who are donating. So please, 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 if you can, make a contribution. We have those 2 Alaskan airline vouchers that are worth $1,250 each. But now what we're going to do is move on to an interview that 2 of our students are doing with George Stephanopoulos. So our two students are Esther Ebo, who actually serves on our board of directors. Global Kids is really fortunate in that, we have two youth directors, and we've had that since we started as an organization, and Luis Wallace, who is in our DC program. So they had the opportunity to talk with George. George has been a longtime supporter of Global Kids. We met him back in the late 90s at an event, and he met one of our Global Kids at the time, Ronti, who came to work for Global Kids later and is now actually running for city council. But Ronti told George about a trip that we wanted to go on to Croatia to do some peace building and community building work post-war Yugoslavia. And George sponsored our trip. I went with 4 Global Kids leaders, and it was an incredible experience. And we are grateful to George for not only supporting Global Kids then, but of course, continuing to support Global Kids year after year. He speaks to our students. He gives his, financial support, and he's just always been there for us. We're grateful to George. So with that, we're going to go to the interview. And after the interview, you'll hear more from our students, as well as an update on what we're doing to prepare our youth for their college experience. So without further ado, please enjoy Esther and Luis interviewing ABC News chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos.
Okay, so hello, and first of all, welcome to this incredible interview for the annual Global Kids Benefit. My name is, I would just like to welcome George Stephanopoulos to the space right now. Hi. Um, so my name is Esther. I am a Global Kids leader, and I've been with Global Kids for the last 3 years. I'm a board member, a youth leader, and I've been given so many spaces to grow with Global Kids in the last incredible 3 years. And um, I'm just really glad to be here.
Hello, Louise. I consider myself an activist, a performer, also a Global Kids Youth Leader. This is currently my second year of a Global Kids program, and I'm really happy to be here.
I'm happy to be with you too. So let's do it.
Okay, so first of all, obviously, as we start the third degree, you have obviously been able to sustain a very long and very successful and eventful career, all while you were taking on a lot of different roles and wearing a lot of different hats. And I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you started and where your passion for journalism comes from.
Well, I actually started my career in politics. When I was in high school and college, I pursued both journalism and politics. And um, I was just, I think I got into journalism through politics and through my passion for politics. And my first internship in Washington, D.C. was uh, junior year of college. I was an intern for my local member of Congress, Mary Rose Okar. She was a congresswoman from Cleveland. I also had the good fortune to have an internship after I finished college at a place called the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, where I worked at the Arms Control Association. It really fired my passion for public policy and politics. And from there, I was able to work for my local member of Congress again. And I started to combine the two worlds. When I was in graduate school, I was at Oxford, and they have long breaks at Oxford. You go to school for 8 weeks and then you're off for 6. And during my 6-week breaks, this was in 1984, 85, there was a famine in Sudan and Ethiopia. And I volunteered to go work in some refugee camps and report for the Christian Science Monitor. And I was able to do that. And on a subsequent trip, help with a documentary on the same issue. And basically, for the next it's been so long, more than 30 years, I've gone back and forth between politics and journalism. I worked in the Dukakis campaign. I worked in Congress, went on to work for Bill Clinton in both his campaign and his first term in the White House. And then when I left the Clinton administration after one term, I came to ABC News, and I've been here since 1997.
That is truly, truly incredible. Like, I'm honestly in awe of the type of career that you've been able to lead. Um, uh, I think Louise has our next question for you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hit you with a little bit of a bang.
Okay.
A question, but if I'm correct, you were when you were working for the Clintons. What do you think was one of the greatest lessons you learned while working at the White House at the time?
Um, well, what I learned about the White House and about the job of being president is that you have to, you're negotiating a constant meteor storm. You're on the one hand, you're trying to travel through space and achieve your objectives, but you've got things coming at you all of the time. And I think that the trick for someone working in the White House and someone and obviously the president of the United States himself is figuring out ways to clear away the clutter so you can focus on your agenda. Then that applies to any job really, but it's multiplied in the White House when you have so many different things that are happening in any part of the world that all of a sudden a president can be held accountable for or be responsible for addressing, and that means and all as the entire world is watching, which is what makes it a job unlike any other in the world.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's definitely very good, like insight on what it's like to be a president. I can only imagine how difficult of a job it is and what roles the president has to take. So earlier you mentioned your passion. Even now and at your age, what do you think drives you to keep going? What makes you wake up every morning and say, "I'm going to go to work and I'm going to do a good job"?
Well, what I feel so lucky that I get to wake up every morning and address whatever's happening in the world. And so every day is new, even though the job is the same every day is brand new. And I love that. And I have a real passion for that. I'm a curious person. One of the things I'm excited about also is having the opportunity uh, in this phase of my career to do more long form projects, documentaries, longer form interviews where you aren't just reacting to the breaking news of the day, but creating uh, new kinds of chronicles of what's going on in the world and figuring out ways to address the problems of the world through journalism.
Would you say that opportunity to, to be a part of like longer, more involved projects, would you say that that emphasizes what you do now, your role, the job that that you wake up every morning and choose to be a part of?
Well, yeah, that's definitely going to be. I mean, I'm I'm lucky. I think is that I'm going to be creating a job where I can do both. You know, waking up every morning on GMA and uh, Sundays on This Week and dealing with the news of the day, but also creating the space to step back and take a longer view on these big issues that are challenging our world.
Thank you so much. Right now, Global Kids has inspired so many young people, including ourselves, to learn a lot about civic engagement and the importance of social justice. With a lot of us even pursuing careers in public service. Before I move on to that segment of the interview, let's take a break to hear from some of our alums and our youth.
My name is Ronti Ogulan, and I'm currently the director of the Jewish Community Center that's based out in Staten Island, New York. I'm also a former Global Kids alum that graduated from Curtis High School in 1998 with a full scholarship to attend Ramport College.
My name is Andre Ware. I am a Global Kids Program alumnus. I am also the current campaign manager for Ronti Ogunleye, another Global Kids alumnus who is running for City Council in New York City, District 49 in Staten Island.
I can honestly say that I wouldn't be on this path had it not been for the work that I did in my high school years as a Global Kids student. In 1996, I got the opportunity to travel to Vienna, Austria for the United Nations World Youth Forum, and I also got a chance to travel to Croatia to work with Bosnian refugees after the Dayton Peace Accords were signed. That was a really impactful trip for me because it was transformative. Little did I know that as a young person, that it was up to me to look at myself as a global citizen, look at the world through the lens of human rights and take action. And I did that. And ever since then, I came back to work in my district to work with young people because I felt like what better way to impact society by working with our most precious resource, our young people. And I've been doing that for over 20 years.
Global Kids taught me that I indeed have the power to influence my community to make better changes. And without Global Kids programming, I would not have had the skills or tools to recognize that.
Over 20 years, I've never left my community. I've always worked to see and improve the conditions around me. And that directly ties into what happened to me as a student at Global Kids. Global Kids empowered me. Global Kids planted these seeds. And Global Kids said, you know what, Monty, your voice is valued and you need to talk up. We need people like you. We need leaders like you. That's a really powerful thing to know at 14, 16 years of age, that you can actually make a mark and you can actually change things.
To current Global Kids leaders, your voice matters. Your input is critical if we're going to dismantle the systematic inequities that are plaguing our community.
And I think Global Kids inspires young people to be their best selves.
Global Kids is all about youth empowerment and ensuring that future generations have the skills and tools needed to leave our world in a better place. I strongly encourage that all youth across New York City join Global Kids and truly make a change in their communities.
GK all day.
Welcome back. It was so great to hear about the work and influence of Global Kids, Mr. Stephanopoulos. Thank you so much again for your time. We want to go into questions now around civic participation and social justice. So, since you have worked with politics for so long and have seen various social movements, what role do you see for young people in this moment in history?
I see you taking it on. We see it all the time. I mean, young people are leading the fight on addressing climate change. Young people are leading the fight on addressing racial justice. I mean, one of the most inspiring things I saw in the last year was to see uh, how young people all across the country took to the streets in a peaceful way as part of the Black Lives Matter movement, and for issues of racial justice and criminal reform and criminal justice. And I think that has been fantastic. Um, I hope, and I think we also saw this in the last election, that uh, part of the movement for social justice includes continuing to focus on voting rights and making sure everyone's vote counts. We see in every single election how critical that is, and especially in the aftermath of the 2020 election. So I hope that that is something that young people continue to show a passion for and to fight for.
Yeah, thank you so much for the shout out to young people. It means a lot. It's good that our work is acknowledged and that adults know that what we do is something that we care about. Expanding on the topic of young people, what impact do you think programs like Global Kids have on youth?
Well, I've seen it in the times I've met with Global Kid students. I mean, usually in the pre-pandemic era, I would meet with Global Kids every year and in their summer program and take their questions. And it was inspiring to me to see that kind of engagement, that kind of intellectual curiosity, that kind of commitment to working in the world and addressing our big challenges from kids who are so young and from so many different backgrounds. And I just think the act of bringing everyone together so they could feed off each other's passions every year is incredibly valuable.
So you've been able to host a presidential debate and a primary debate in the past. How do you prepare for those, and what do you think is critical for the audience to come away with?
It's fun for me to prepare for them. What you do is the way I prepare for them is obviously to keep up on all the news, but also to know all the positions of the various candidates who are going to be debating and know where the points of differences are, because I really think that those debates are about the candidates, not about the moderator. And I think I see as my job is simply revealing the points of tension, the points of disagreement, and letting them have at it, following up when necessary, but making sure that everyone understands it's their debate, uh, so that people who are watching, the voters who are going to have to make decisions, have a full sense of what the candidates believe, why they believe it, and how they differ.
Absolutely. and you were able to cover news during the Trump presidency. I was 100% tuning in during that entire era. What were some of the biggest challenges during that time?
Well, the biggest challenge by far was the fact that the president and his uh, aides and his allies uh, simply lied so much. I mean, we've never really seen anything like it. And that was one of the most difficult things to contend with. We saw it most recently in the days after the election. The president propagated this big lie that somehow the election was stolen, that he was the victim of voter fraud, and it simply wasn't true. But and we did our best to call that out in real time and to give people the facts, make sure people understood. But the fact that so many still came away believing the lies the president was selling is disheartening, and it shows how much more work we have to do.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I had a little bit of a question to expand on that. So since you do cover presidential debates and you do cover the news, do you find it hard to sometimes, or do you in fact play devil advocate sometimes?
Oh, I definitely do. That's the job of being an interviewer. Our job is to, like, whenever I interview someone, I try to understand their positions, but know the counter arguments. And it's a big part of my job to press the to press the candidates, to press the officials that I'm dealing with the arguments that are being made, the truthful ones, and get their response.
Yeah, that's really like, yeah, I think that's definitely the job of an interviewers, and it's all about getting the job done.
Exactly, and getting and making sure people have the best information they can to make up their own minds about how they want to be led, who they want to be led by.
Exactly. The people have the power. So let's look at a few changes. We've seen so many changes to politics over the years, from how we're able to vote to the issues that we choose to focus on. Going back to the youth, what effect do you think youth involvement has on this shift?
Oh, well, you see it. I mean, just in the explosion of social media has changed, and that's been dominated by younger people. I can't even imagine what running a campaign would be like now. When I was doing campaigns, we had AP teletype machines and two news cycles. There wasn't even cable news for the most part, or at least there was maybe one or two channels and an afternoon and evening newspaper. Now you have a 24-hour news cycle every single day of the year, and the news can come from anywhere. Someone with a Twitter feed who unearths a nugget, it can be blasted all around the world in a minute, and that's very different from when I was starting out.
Yeah. I mean, you're so good at interviews. You predicted my next question. I was going to ask you, what effect do you think the digital age has on journalism? But
Well, it's changed everything. It's given uh, it's democratized journalism. Everybody can be a journalist right now. That doesn't mean necessarily that everybody is following the rules of journalism, but everybody has the power to find news and broadcast it uh, immediately. It's also meant that people are getting their information from a variety of different sources. I think the danger and the challenge is that there's so much disinformation out there, and people are, because of social media and the way that social media works, the way the digital age works, there's a tendency for people simply to go down paths, information paths, where they're never being challenged, where they're simply uh, getting information that reinforces what they already believe. And one of the things we've seen is that it's very hard to police that information. It's very hard to prevent lies from spreading in a big way in a world where information can be thrown out across the entire globe in a second.
so what I'm hearing is you're saying, challenge yourself to look at different beliefs, but in looking at those beliefs, make sure you're getting the facts, because the
Make
facts
sure
are.
you're getting the facts. We can only survive in a democracy if people can agree that we're going to make our decisions based on facts, not based on falsehood.
Um, that is a really really good point. I think like the internet can is often compared to like a jungle, um, and in the wild, there's really no way to keep everything in check.
Well, that puts the burden on the people who are, consumers of information, making sure, as Luis was saying, to challenge yourself, to do the extra work to make sure what you're hearing and seeing is true. That's critical, and it's critical to the job of being a citizen.
Absolutely, 100%. So these are obviously very unstable times, very, very trying times, and a lot of people have found themselves in unknown territory. You know, they don't know which way is up and where to go from here. What message might you have for students or the people watching this conversation who are feeling unstable or uncertain about the future?
Uh, I get it. Everybody is. It's an unstable, uncertain time. We've never really lived through anything like this before. All still dealing with the fallout from the pandemic, dealing with a world that seems both bigger and smaller at the same time, dealing with an information universe where we often don't know what's real, what's fake, what's true, what's false. And it puts, as I was saying, a burden on us to do that extra work to be good citizens, which starts with being committed to finding the truth and to making decisions based on facts.
And how would you describe the duty of someone with your experience and your current job in these times of civil unrest?
And to give people the tools they need to make their own decisions to rule their lives. And the way we can do that best is by telling important stories, telling them in a factual way, giving people the information they need to make the big decisions about their own lives and about the country they live in.
Yeah, definitely. Like such a good point. Like you said, the people is what's important, and making sure that the people have what they need to make conscious and good decisions is what matters. So I believe, and I think most people have seen that the nation, even though we've had a few setbacks, we're progressing. So, what do you think are the lasting impact of Trump's presidency, and where do you see us going forward?
Um, I don't think that I don't think we know the lasting impact yet. I think that his presidency will always be remembered and marked by the final days, where his lies led to, and his provocations led to a storming of the Capitol, something we had never seen before in American history. No other president has been impeached twice, even though he was not convicted. I think that mark will live with the president forever. I hope if we have the proper accountability through the courts, through Congress, and we find out the truth about what happened, it will tell a story that will be a warning about the future and will help steel people to make sure that we don't live through something like this again. But that's going to take a lot of vigilance.
So beautifully put, so well said. Before we finish off, is there anything, absolutely anything, this next generation of leaders, activists, possibly future journalists should think about, especially as they embark on college and their future careers?
Do what you're doing. Ask the big questions. Follow your passions. Find issues and engage both your heart and your mind and pursue them with care, with balance, and with a commitment to the truth, and you'll do great.
Yes. I'm so glad that we got the opportunity to interview somebody who's doing what they love, because I think that's where the youth are going, where we're focusing on careers that focus on what we want to do and what we love. And I'm glad that the adults are acknowledging this and we're progressing. So that
Well,
makes
you guys were both incredibly impressive. It was a great interview. You did a terrific job, and I'm so thrilled to see the impact Global Kids is having on you and all of your fellow students. And I can't wait to see what you do.
Oh my God, we really wanted to thank you for
Thank
taking
you
time
so
out of your day,
much.
being here.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're fine, giving insight, giving your wisdom on your vast career and many topics that are important to the people.
Thank you, guys.
Before we close, I'm so sorry. Just before ending, we really want to almost turn the tables on you. Do you have any questions for us about our journey at Global Kids and beyond everything that comes after?
Well, I want each of you to tell me what you're going to be doing next. What's your ambition?
Um, Obviously, the list is probably very, very long. My ultimate goal, honestly, I want to go into politics. I want to go into um, the science of what makes democracy click. What makes democracy the way that it is. You know what I mean? Um, I also a personal dream of mine when it comes to activism and I see the way that certain things are in our community. I want to eliminate food deserts. I want to emphasize mental health in the Black community. Like ever since I was a kid, it was always a dream of mine to become a psychologist and be there for Black patients, things like that. Every facet of my identity is a conversation, is a controversial topic, and I want anything that happens after, this moment after high school to involve that and change the way those things are seen.
That's a beautiful ambition.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Esther, like you said, it's like a long list, it's a jungle, it's a confusing list at that. But you know what? I think it's okay to not know. I'm young.
So
I
do
still
I.
I can grow. I can even change my passion later if I feel like it. But what comes next? I don't. I consider myself an activist, so I definitely want to, like as I said, make change in my community and uplift my people. And in uplifting my people, I want to uplift everyone and hopefully make the nation safer and better, and just bring joy and happiness and peace for all. That's all I'm really looking forward to
I
doing.
believe you guys are going to do it. Did a great job. Thanks a lot.
Thank
you. Bye.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I hope you're enjoying tonight's benefit and thanks for joining us. My name is Peter Quinn. I'm a board member with Global Kids, and I'm sure you're as inspired by our participants as I am. That is why I have committed to raise at least $10,000 for the organization, and I hope that you can join me tonight by donating to Global Kids. Thanks again and enjoy the rest of the show.
Global Kids helps our students prepare for college and careers by offering and providing support in numerous ways. Some examples of this provided support include academic instruction, quality mentorship, individualized advising, and the exploration of academic and career options.
With college coming up, and it's really a struggle for kids sometimes to think about college and the world beyond us, beyond high school and beyond school in general. So I just really think that those college trips were very beneficial to me, and they helped me open my options, and they helped me see like, hey, I want to go to this college maybe in the future. Like, it's really a good feeling.
Being that I'm a senior now and I'm going to college next year, I have to get all these different types of applications done for college, and GK has been a big help with that process by providing their support and doing what they can to help us.
I've gotten help writing my personal statement and applying for colleges and scholarships.
And doing these daily, weekly meetings, making sure people was on track with everything and showing them what they needed to do and fill out, such as our FAFSA tab and college essay, and also reminding us when we had deadlines and things of that matter.
Now, if it weren't for that help, if it weren't for them sitting down with me on Zoom for hours looking over my college applications, my essays, and my supplements, I wouldn't gotten into my dream school of Vassar College.
Before the pandemic, I've gotten to go on many college trips, and it was very helpful because I cannot do that now during the pandemic, and most of the colleges I've applied to and gotten accepted to, I've already visited to thanks to Global Kids.
And when those college acceptances start rolling in, we are right there with them. Our students receive guidance from us on how to read their financial aid packages and what else to consider when it comes to making their final decisions on what schools they'll attend after they graduate from high school.
They guided me through the process of applying for a full tuition leadership scholarship, which I received, and now I don't have to pay tuition at my school.
The scholarship that I received was the Foundation 17 scholarship, which I received from Global Kids, and has helped me very much because NYU is a very, very expensive school, and it allows me to be able to afford food and metro cards because I am a commuter. And during these times where everything is online and I have some in-person classes, things have been very hard, but this foundation scholarship has helped me tremendously.
Despite the pandemic and the difficulty with remote learning, 100% of our students in our senior class still graduated, 85% of which matriculated into college. This was a lower number than usual since some students had to take a gap year instead of going to college right away because of the pandemic.
We've also taken time to help students explore potential career options post high school and also introduce them to a variant of different trainings that may be beneficial to them as different career opportunities are exposed as they graduate high school.
This winter, 12 partner organizations from the nonprofit and business world stepped up to offer our students internships, including Apple Bank, Human Rights Foundation, Climate Crisis Policy, Leading with Love, Coca Rose, and many more.
The reason why we agreed to host Global Kids to be part of our team and organization is to do just that and to inspire young minds and really empower them to be the future leaders that they are meant to be.
My experience so far in the Dream internship has been awesome. I learned that lesson planning is not easy, so shout out to teachers. I also learned that my communication skills have improved a lot. It taught me how to, reach out to my supervisors, express my concerns and opinions, use my voice, and be confident in myself. This experience was a great opportunity that I came across, and I'm forever grateful that I was chosen to be a part of the Dream organization.
It is important for our youth to receive job training because they are able to learn career readiness skills and apply them in the future.
Overall, GK just really taught me to not be afraid to pursue anything that I want to pursue, and that if I really put my mind to it, anything is possible.
Our high school students graduate, entering into competitive colleges. They have a placement of unique career options, and they also engage in greater civic participation and leave GK with an overall boost of confidence within themselves.
Not only do we advocate for our students, but we give them the skills that they need to advocate for themselves.
I wasn't this outspoken at the beginning of my high school career, but thanks to Global Kids, I'm feeling even more confident.
My experience in GK in 2020 and this school year has been quite an interesting ride.
My experience with Global Kids has been an amazing one.
My experience with Global Kids in 2020 and this year has been great and full of love.
I had an amazing experience with GK. The staff is very supportive and helpful. I got to meet new people, experience new things, and got exposed to many new opportunities.
It's been different activities for me each day of the week. So one day I'll be learning about how to prepare for college, and then the next day it would be another activity based on something happening around the globe.
I always enjoy participating in their class. They cover topics of mental health and building healthy habits.
During the past 6 months, I've learned so much. For example, climate change. Climate change is a huge and growing issue across the whole entire world, not only the United States.
I went to CFR, and one of the topics that was discussed with other members was on global warming. And I feel like it was a very touching and inspirational message to me that it made me drive a purpose towards engineering, specifically renewable energy engineering.
Being able to travel to COP25 in Madrid as a climate change activist, and I would like to say that experience changed not my whole life, but it changed something in me. It made me want to fight for climate change even more.
And in the mentorship program helped me build up leadership skills and how to be proactive when it comes to work and in the professional life.
GK has helped me develop my public speaking skills, communication skills, and leadership skills.
GK really encourages me to be who I am and to really speak. I've been able to participate in public speaking activities and so much more stuff because GK has taught me how to speak and how to articulate my words properly.
Global Kids has helped me become a more outspoken person. One of the examples how they have helped me was during the conference. I facilitated a conference my freshman year on criminal justice reform, and I got to be very engaged with the people I was talking to. and has made me feel more comfortable about speaking out.
One of the things that I love about Global Kids is that you can voice your opinion without feeling judged, and it really helps you to be more interactive about the issues happening across the world.
One of my favorite memories, which is the No Talent show. So there, the participants shared our skills on different things. I shared some of my visual arts like paintings and sketches, etc. And we got so much love.
Joining the census squad was a good way for me to break out of my shell, and like when it comes to meeting new people, as I got to meet new people by advertising the census and whatnot, and even spoke to I believe it was a congresswoman about what it was like taking the census squad.
What I like about GK is that they are always there for us and always support us, even during the pandemic. For example, they did daily check-ins, and if we were down, by the end of the day, they would make sure that we felt better than we did before.
In 2020, Global Kids has been the reason why I actually really love going to school, because I was looking forward to doing the workshops. I was looking forward to seeing the people that I've bonded with and made friends with. I was looking forward to seeing the staff. I was looking forward to seeing and feeling the loving energy that I felt when I entered Global Kids.
GK made a difference for me over distance learning because it gave me more structure in my day, which really helped me.
They also helped us truly understand how important it was to follow the stay-at-home and social distancing rule. It's great to know that GK is always there for us.
Speaking to them has improved my mental health during the lockdown and even now. I built very strong relationships with them, and they helped me prepare for life after high school.
I think as young kids growing up, we have to acknowledge that we are the future. And with the tools given from GK leadership and the leadership skills and the self-love and confidence skills that we get from the workshops that are given to us, it's really beneficial to us because we, like I said, are the future of our world. And the more that we gain these leadership skills, the more we'll be able to execute them in the future and when we get into the real world and when we graduate high school.
Overall, what I've learned while in GK are gonna help me in my whole life. It includes my college or career, and I'd like to suggest every student to come to GK and get the opportunity to explore. And thank you and so much love for GK.
I just want to say a big thank you to Global Kids for really helping me embrace myself and teaching me skills that I wasn't taught from people around me in middle school or before that. And I just really want to thank them so much for really being welcoming and open to all the kids that are interested in this program.
Okay, I think we're having some technical difficulties, but hopefully you can all hear me. And I don't think any of you are seeing a cat on screen right now, but I am a live person, even though you can't really see me. This is Evie, once again, Executive Director of Global Kids. Thanks so much for that video that was put together, and really what an impressive interview with George and our young people. And I think what's so amazing about Global Kids and why I've really loved working here so much is the fact that, we give young people experiences that they really can't get anywhere else. They are able to meet people like George Stephanopoulos. They have met presidents. They have met diplomats. They have met all sorts of elected officials. They have met very, very influential people. And we're able to do this, and it gives them a sense that they have a voice, that they have a right to be at the table, in public policy, in international affairs, in decision making. And even if they don't go into those fields, they take that confidence back with them. They take that knowledge back with them, and they become more engaged, better citizens. So yeah, that's just a little bit about what Global Kids does. I mean, you heard they were involved in promoting the census. They traveled to all different countries. They have been able to go on to college because of Global Kids, and that is all possible because of your support. So I really want to thank everybody who has supported Global Kids, not just tonight, obviously, but just throughout the years. We have many long-term donors who are on this Zoom meeting right now, and we're so grateful to you. And really, we can't do our support without you. And as we mentioned, we do have the vouchers for Alaska Airlines. This is your last chance to put a bid on those if you'd like. And even if you don't want to bid on them, because right now I think,
no, you can do disconnect audio.
I think we have a $5,000 pledge, but you can still just donate $20 just to support the organization. Whatever amount you want to give is greatly appreciated. So thank you all for that. And now I'm going to hand it back over to Richard for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Evie. You really appreciate that, and I agree. No amount is too small. We appreciate any gifts that do come in. I just want to thank everybody involved in the program, creating the program, the GK students and staff who were involved in helping us put this together. It was a great interview with George Stephanopoulos and our youth, and it was really great to hear about GK's impact, not only in working with students as they are embarking on the next phase of their educational careers as they think about college and beyond, but also the tremendous support that GK has been providing to students in the program as we are navigating all of the difficulties associated with the pandemic. I really hope that all of the viewers felt the impact. It certainly impacted me greatly, and I hope you will go to the GK website and click on the donate tab and provide your support. I did want to mention our GK board, which has been incredibly supportive of the event tonight, and many of our GK board members are among some of the largest contributors to tonight's event. And so I thank them not only for their support tonight, but their support throughout the year. I want to particularly thank our lead sponsor, Martin Dunn and Dunn Development. Not only did they support the event at the $25,000 level, I understand that Martin has pledged an additional $5,000 tonight, and so he really is a leader in supporting Global Kids. And so for that, Martin, we thank you. I'll turn it back over to Evie. Evie, are we done? I think it's a wrap.
Well, almost. I just want to say, thank you again to everybody. I want to thank you, Richard, for being such an amazing board chair and all that you do for the organization. I want to thank Carol, our founder, all the incredible Global Kids staff who work tirelessly every day and have really been outstanding, particularly in this past year. They really have made our lives better for our young people during a very difficult time. So thank you. Thanks so much to Katie, Sebastian, and Amanda for putting this program together. They have really been fantastic, and they're just consummate professionals. So thank you. Sebastian in particular, who worked on all these videos. This program is going to be up on social media. So if you enjoyed it, please share it with your networks, let them know about us and our students. And, spread the word about Global Kids, be a Global Kids ambassador, and continue to support this organization, which really is unique. There is no other organization like it. I think all of you who have supported Global Kids recognize that. And so we thank you. I'm trying to think. I think the winner of the tickets is Martin Dunn, I believe. So congratulations, Martin. Thank you so much for sponsoring the event tonight and contributing to the little auction that we were doing for the tickets. Anyone else, like I said, you can continue to support Global Kids by going to Global Kids, to donate.globalkids.org. But the main thing is send us your good wishes, help us get through this pandemic. We will be here for our young people. And we thank you for allowing us to be here with your support. So with
and
that,
Ed, thank you, and Evie, thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for really being the leadership that helped pull this event off. Thank you so much.
thank you, Richard. I love Global Kids. It's a fantastic organization. So with that, if people want to, we had technical difficulties, but maybe if everyone wants to just try, put their cameras on, unmute themselves and say goodnight. Let's see if that works. If people want to try that. Sorry that you had to look at a screen, but
you can give jazz hands, you can clap, you can talk, whatever you want to do.
Let's see if that works.
Woo!
Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Voices, at least unmute yourself. Maybe you can't
Great
get the
event,
cameras
Evie.
on, but-
Congratulations.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Aw.
Good job.
Eddie Mandry, I see you there.
Eddie Mandry, wow.
Eddie Mandry.
Hi, Carol from Carol and Bob. Hi from Carol and Bob.
Thank you, everybody.
Well done, Evie.
Thank you. Thanks,
Well
Trina.
done, Global Kids.
Thanks,
Well
Jane.
done.
Amazing.
Great job.
Thank you all.
Congratulations.
Great production.
Turn
The
on
pictures aren't coming. They had
The virtual meeting was a success.
Except for the, the camera issue, but
But he got it. But he got us back up. That was the good thing about it. I mean, it was like we were out.
Oh, my.
Here they are, Carol and Bob.
There they are.
Marco.
Good night, all.
Now you can do
Where are you, Eddie? Eddie, are you in Connecticut?
Connecticut, yeah.
All right, man.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, look at the baby. Oh,
The baby. Oh my gosh.
wow.
Future Global Kid there.